All right, let's go AFC West. And as I read out the odds here from FanDuel, is this the best value of any team? Kansas City Chiefs are plus 100 from FanDuel to win the AFC West. Denver Broncos plus 280, Los Angeles Chargers plus 310, and then the Raiders plus 1,200. What a fascinating division with Andy Reid and the Chiefs, of course, perennially good. And then the Broncos and Sean Payton, the big step forward that they took last year, the big step forward that the Chargers took last year. Remember, last year at this time, this was a division that had only one team above 500 from the 2023 season. Of course, that was the Chiefs. Well, the Broncos and Chargers both made the playoffs. They both did it with Peyton and with Jim Harbaugh coaching. So fascinating coaching history here and success from all these coaches. And then the Raiders add Pete Carroll and Geno Smith to their roster. Carroll is the head coach, of course, Geno Smith as a quarterback. So I think they're going to be far more competitive now. So I think this is up there with the NFC North as maybe the most competitive division in the league this year. So I imagine you're probably going to take the Chiefs, or are you going to go with some kind of upset here?
No, I'm going with the Chiefs. I do think it's competitive. It wouldn't shock me if 3 of the 4 teams in this division won it, but I think the most likely one is still the Chiefs.
I'll also take the Chiefs, but the beginning of the season is a big one for the Chiefs, right, who always seem to get out to a pretty good start. They're going to be missing Rashee Rice for 6 games at the beginning of the season.
Right.
And they're in Brazil against the Chargers. They have the Eagles in week 2, the Giants in week 3, which is a primetime game at New York. It doesn't seem formidable on paper, except the Giants will be feisty in the defensive line and everything. But then it's the Ravens in week 4. Jaguars week 5, Lions week 6. So Rashee Rice missing those first 6 games with Chargers, Eagles, Ravens, and Lions, 4 of the best teams in the NFL right there. So I really think this division might come down to the first 6 weeks of the season, where if the Chiefs slip up and they're 2-4 somehow or 3-3, that opens the door for these other teams. Say 3-3. But if they get through the beginning of this schedule at 5-1 or 6-0, which again, both of those things are possible, good luck dethroning the Chiefs if they could get through all those tough games.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's looking at this Chiefs team and being like, they're vulnerable, in a way that they haven't been for a while. And suddenly there's rivals. The Chargers were good last year. Broncos were moving in the right direction last year and are everybody's sort of favorite dark horse. But what if the Chiefs actually put their problems to rest in the offseason? What if Josh Simmons is really good as a pass-protecting left tackle right out of the gate, and suddenly this wide receiver core, albeit without Rashee Rice for a while, what if that gets pieced back together and Mahomes suddenly rediscovers a deep ball threat and, the explosive Chiefs from a couple of years ago are back in the building? If Travis Kelce has actually done what he said he did, which is kind of realize that he let his standard slip a little bit and rededicated himself and actually is able to still look like Travis Kelce of old, there's definitely a world where the Chiefs are back being the Chiefs.
Hey guys, real quick, only 40% of our viewers are actually subscribed, so let's change that. Hit that subscribe button, and now let's get back to the action. Yeah, and they spent a lot of time working on their downfield passing attack, and they have the speed, a healthy Marquise Brown, a Xavier Worthy, Tyquan Thornton, 3 guys that are sub 4.3. Rashee Rice, when he comes back, as the underneath player. Travis Kelce looking slimmer. We'll see. After one preseason forced missed tackle, which I think is a third of what he did last year. Look, in a focused Mahomes, then I don't know, man. They could be dangerous again offensively, which they have. They haven't been dangerous the last couple of years. They've been good, but not dangerous. They've been a little bit more defense focused.
Imagine if Mahomes is what unlocks Tyquan Thornton.
It'd be hilarious. He's got some size and 4.3 speed, which we saw in the preseason. But again, division-wise, really competitive. I think the Broncos, you look up and down their roster, they're very good. Their question is going to be Bo Nix in year 2. And some of the inconsistency that he had, does he tighten that up? Because he was inconsistent early in the year, but was much better down the stretch. It's an easy narrative with a young quarterback that you turn a corner and you're better. Yeah. If he carries that over, Broncos are solid across the board, maybe the deepest roster in this division. And the Chargers are similar, right? But they have Herbert at quarterback, and if they could get some playmaking help, if they have one of those rookies on the outside, Keandre Lambert-Smith or Trey Harris really step up opposite Ladd McConkey. A little more explosion on offense. They were very good defensively last year, and they have Harbaugh sitting at the top.
Yeah, they're both relying on a lot of young players, would be the only real cause for concern. The Chargers obviously losing their left tackle as well, and Rashawn Slater is a big blow to them before the season.
Yeah.
But both teams, you're looking at them and saying they need a lot of young players to be pretty good. Denver, you've got the receivers beyond Cortland Sutton again, whether it's Marvin Mims Jr., Pat Bryant, Troy Franklin. At least one of those guys needs to step up and be an impact player this year. In the backfield, you've got R.J. Harvey as well, who I think they want to be the lead back. If they don't, J.K. Dobbins is there. So that is at least a question mark. And then with the Chargers as well, it's still Ladd McConkey's great. Have you got a guy after him? Is it one of those rookies that you've got? Are you going to be able to get anything from Quentin Johnston this year? Those are the question marks for both those teams.
And then last thing on the Raiders, competitive is the word I just keep coming back to. When they played, I know they could have beaten the Chiefs, and they played some close games last year, but they always felt like they were behind as far as quarterback situation, pass catchers, their ability to run the ball. With Ashton Genty in the offensive line, should be able to run the ball a little bit better. Geno Smith's going to keep them in games. Pete Carroll now is the head coach. Raiders are going to pull some upsets this year. I don't know if they're a 7-win team, 8-win team.
Right.
I don't know what they end up as. I think they're going to play some close games, though, and certainly not be a pushover like they've been at various points over the last couple of years.
I mean, Pete Carroll basically didn't field a bad football team in Seattle. They were varying degrees of how far away from a championship are you, but he didn't field bad football teams. So this Raiders team is unlikely to stink. It might still be the fourth best team in the division, but I think it will be a lot closer to the rest of the teams than it would have been otherwise. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video.
Check the Mic is live every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a thing.
And the all-knowing algorithm is convinced you'll also like these videos, and who are we to argue?